Hey everyone, I'm going to show you a couple things in Desmos that'll be helpful for your project. With the exponential function that you come up with in particular, you're going to get really, really big numbers. And I'm asking you guys to go to like 45 on your x-axis. And I don't just want you to scroll out and do one of these because that's not very nice. What I would prefer that you do to manually set your window, you can choose how far in the X and Y direction it goes. You're just going to go up here to the right corner and click on the graph settings. And then you can control where your X-axis begins and ends. So I'm going to start it at 0, and I'll have it, let's say, go to 45 on my X-axis. Okay, and you can see that if I do that, I can't see any of the Y values past like an X value of 6. So we're going to come here and we're going to change our Y value as well. So it's just minimum to the maximum. Let's do like 10 million. Let's see, we can go a little bigger here. Right, and this is the same thing is going to happen when you are doing your project. All right, we might even need to go a little bit bigger, but you get the point, right? You can control and set manually how big this window is, so we can see the X's just go 0 to 45, but our Y's are going from 0 to like 50 million. So we can control that. We can also, in this same menu, if we want, we can put labels, like my X might be the number of days, and you can see it pops up down here. We could do the same thing for the Y-axis. This would be the, the money, the dollars, however much it's worth. You can put that there. You can also control, if there's arrows, how far apart your grid lines and everything are, and so on. So that's the first thing I wanted to show you is how to manually adjust the window that shows up in Desmos. The second thing I wanted to show you how to do is how to add labels to the graph itself. So for instance, over here, I have this label that I can just kind of drag and drop wherever I want, but it's not super straightforward how we make one of these. So what you're going to actually end up doing is creating an ordered pair in Desmos, right? Just pick any random number. It really doesn't matter. It's not going to end up showing up anyway. And then I'm going to click this little label box and I can type whatever I want. Right, so you put your text there, and then we can edit this just like anything in Desmos. If I click the gear, it's going to give me options for things I can do. So for this label I just made, I'm going to click here, and I can control like the color of that dot. I can make the dot disappear. I can make it so that my label can be dragged around like this. I can make my text bigger if I wanted to. So let's see, for instance here, I can make my label, let's have it a font of like 3. Oops, that was the wrong thing. Hold on. So if I go back here, I've got my label, my size, I can make bigger, right? I can do angle rotations if I want to, but you guys can play around with this. This is the easiest way to make a little label, and there's a couple places where I'm going to be having you make 2 graphs at a time, and this will be a nice, easy way for you to make it obvious which one's which. You can also, if you want to change the color of your graph, you can do that as well. If you go back to the gear and click, you can change how thick the line of your function is. You can change the colors and those kinds of things. Like if I wanted a really wide line, you can do that. So again, just wanted to show you a couple nice things here. The final thing that I would recommend doing is, when it's time to actually submit your graph, you could screenshot this, or you can hit the little share a graph and you can export it, and you can choose like the square, how big you want it to be, and you could download it and put it into your project that way. All right, so just giving you some options. If you have questions, let me know.